food, sex, and death.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Food, Sex, and Death. We are here live in the French Quarter, New Orleans, Louisiana. My name is Colin Bohannon, along with my co-host, Lefty Lucy.
Yeehaw.
We got epic degenerate Michael Polino.
Got a light.
And the always hysterical, always present for some reason, we got the pooch.
Yes, that's good.
Ooh, okay. Everybody has their own little catchphrase.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right,
still
all right.
working on mine.
Yeah,
I haven't really landed on one yet.
You just say hello. And although I got to
I-
be honest with you, like I feel like I get a little pass on the catchphrase because I do the intro, but gotta light and Polino goes with gotta light and what's up, nerds, or
yeah,
whatever you're like. Your voice sounds like what AIDS must feel like. You know what I mean? Like
If the Crypt Keeper had AIDS.
Yeah, and smoked less. You know what I mean? Like
I think Polino sounds what cloves do to your lungs.
I'm actually allergic to cloves. It's my only fucking allergy.
Really?
Oddly enough.
Good for you. But your voice smells like
someone can't have a hot toddy.
The first time somebody remarked on my voice when I was like 15 or 14 working at this restaurant, and this table of these drunk motherfuckers was like, hey man, what's your name? And I'm like, Michael. And they're like, really, man? Because it sounds like you gargled Jack Daniels and razor blades for breakfast, and then your name should be like fucking Jasmo or something.
Jasmo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'd like if you were a sideshow performer because you'd come out looking all normal and then you'd speak and do something weird and it would be great.
Here's my problem.
Normal?
Here's my problem with that story you told there, Popo. You've been saying, yeah, I get it. I sound like I've been gargling Jack Daniels and razor blades for fucking years. I thought that was an original.
Nope,
Motherfucker,
not at all.
you took that from some fucking Jamoke on the South Side and
Yeah.
fucking have been riding it out ever since?
Yeah.
That's also just like a thing that
I thought
Good artists borrow, great artists steal. You know the fucking law.
Yeah. Thank you, Pooch.
better artists give credit when credit is due.
Palabra.
If there's time. Come on.
Yeah. Well,
I recently realized I poached a joke from someone who I respect very much, and now I give them credit every time I say it.
Do you guys feel like that happens as bartenders all the time to you? Because I really have busted people stealing my shit right in
All
front
the
of me.
fucking time, dude.
Right in front of me. Like I'm not even there.
Like, what do you mean?
yeah.
Give me an example.
Like they're reading from my script. I like the Gone with the Wind intro sometimes where I'll be like, Colin Bohannon as I live and breathe. And then I'll have a motherfucker at the bar that 5 minutes later is like, oh, Joey, as I live and breathe. And I'm like, what the fuck?
That's my
Bitch, I
line.
just said that to you.
Yeah.
That's just
It's
parroting.
weird. Yeah, but that's creepy to me. I don't know.
That's,
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
think that's like the sincerest form of flattery in that context.
Right
If
in
they're not
fucking front of
making
me.
money off of it, then like
Oh, okay. So I came home like a week ago, and I had a package at my door with no return address, right? And it said something like Sammy's Sandwiches, whatever, right? And I opened it, and it was like, and there was a bag of chips, a can of Diet Coke. And then, you know how like they'll like wrap up a sub sandwich, like a rubber band around it, right? Like a to-go sandwich. Well, it was that, and I was like, "Who the fuck mailed me a sandwich?"
Was
what
it
kind
good?
of sandwich?
I opened it, and it was a T-shirt that someone had made for me. And I opened it, and the T-shirt said "Super Dope Garbage Person," and I was like, fucking perfect. Like, that is super on brand for me.
You have merch and a tagline now.
That's how I got my Nicolas Cage pillowcases.
Wait, there was no way for me to know who sent that. And I was like, well, I'll just text like the 3 people that would send me something like this. And then I was like, everyone I know would like thinks that about me. So who the fuck? So I ended up having to put it on Facebook, and one of my homies who came to visit was like, "Oh, I sent that shit to you," and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." It was like a
was it
thank you
somebody you
gift.
don't even
That's
like?
awesome.
Please tell me.
No. No. It was a good friend, but yeah, she had that made and sent to me as like a thank you for letting me stay with you gift.
Oh, that's nice.
You
but,
look
like,
quite dashing in the shirt. I've seen it.
Yeah, don't I? It's really. I was walking down
What
Lower
color is the
Decatur.
shirt?
It's black with white, lettering. And I was walking down Lower Decatur the first time I wore it the other day when Pooch, you saw me, and people were like, super dope garbage person, fuck yeah. And I was just like, oh man, this must be like what it is to be pregnant, where like you're walking down the street and everyone wants to stop and talk about what's on your belly. And I was like,
I thought people avoid pregnant women and they like babies.
Oh my
kind
God,
of.
no, they
dude,
love
my
pregnant women get touched
sister-in-law,
so
my
much.
sister-in-law,
People are just like, they think that they have the right, because like it's like not your belly, it's a baby, so they can touch it. But it's
People touch my beard all the time, and that's kind of weird.
You goad them into it though. I think
No,
that's
I
a little
don't. Like,
different.
dudes will be like, "Hey, can I touch your beard?" Like I was talking.
at least they ask.
Yeah, sometimes women do not ask.
No, women don't ask, and they also grab and pull and think
Yeah.
it's funny. And you're like, it's not funny. That hurts a lot, and I hate your dumb fucking face.
Maybe
You
they're
know,
trying
like,
to
because,
send a
like-
message.
No, like women will be at the bar
What?
and be like, "Hey, I like I'm gonna
subtle
mime on you,
message.
Pooch,"
It's a
and just
subtle
like
message.
Shave
she'd be
it.
like, "Hey, I like your beard." Just yank on my beard, and I'm like, if I just grabbed you by your ponytail, I was like, "Hey, I like your hair," that'd be real fucking creepy. Did I ever tell you about the time that I got those Nicolas Cage pillowcases in the mail without a return address? I still don't know who sent those shits.
You know, I
By
actually
the way.
I took the liberty over the last week or so, and I rewatched Con Air.
It's
And
amazing.
it's no, it wasn't that amazing. It definitely wasn't. It wasn't as bad as I remembered it being though. It was definitely
You just don't know how to
watchable.
experience joy.
I don't, at all.
You seen the trailer for Mandy yet? So Mandy, it's the new Nicolas Cage movie coming out. It's directed by that super weird guy, like Panos Cosmatos or whatever.
What else did he do?
I forgot the name of the movie, but it was like weird as fuck, like super just weird shit. I think he's only in the 2 movies. I've only seen 1, and I forgot the hell it was called.
What was the last? Then this is an honest question.
Yeah.
Because we were both super stoked about that movie where he was like the crazy dude that went to go find Osama bin Laden,
Oh, yeah.
and that went like it was from one terrible and straight to fucking Hulu or fucking video.
Nicolas Cage did this?
When was the
Yeah.
last
It wasn't very
movie
good.
that Nicolas Cage did that was
A major
like,
theatrical release? Because
yeah.
nothing gets theatrical released anymore, though. Man.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
He's
Like,
he's B-list
Okay,
now, hardcore.
but, like,
unless he's doing
everybody's
Disney
B-list.
though, the
He-
fucking sorcerer stuff, right?
That was probably
Like,
the last.
I
one,
feel like I
right?
see him on a
and
billboard
National
once a year,
Treasures.
though.
He does 10. There's 10 National Treasures,
There's
right?
two.
Two?
well, he's like the 17th highest grossing actor of all time or whatever.
Yeah,
can do what he
you
wants.
know what? Fucking, he's in 9 movies a year, dude. Like that is
Yeah,
crazy.
but also if you take away actors who only are like supporting, if you take away supporting roles, he like jumps way higher on the list too. It's super. I was reading an article about this the other
But
day.
he's
It's super
also a
weird.
leading. Like he's a.
Right, which he shouldn't be. Like he's like you know what I mean. He was great in that movie Mom and Dad, and he was a supporting character. You know, the kids were really.
He's
the main
been killing it
characters.
with that. He saved Kick-Ass, that's for sure.
Yeah,
No,
Oh
roles.
yes, agreed. Samuel L. Jackson is famous for saying, "I'm an actor. I work. I do." I work everything that I possibly can. He's like, I take small roles, I take big roles, like I do comedies, I do whatever. He's like,
Well,
I
Christopher
like to
Walken
fucking
too, but
work.
nobody respects Nicolas Cage for saying that same shit. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's a joke."
No, but here's the thing, though, right? Like
I think a lot of people respect him.
Samuel L. Jackson will be in 8 movies in a fucking year, but he'll also like at that level, like you get 100 scripts a fucking week if you wanted to view him. You know what I mean? Samuel L. Jackson will take like a side role, or a supporting role instead of like having to be the lead in every movie. And that's the thing with Nick Cage. He's taking all these garbage movies and he's the lead role in all these fucking incredibly terrible movies, as opposed to doing the fucking supporting role where he kills it in some, you know what I mean?
Right,
But
the thing
maybe
is, like-
he's having fun. Like, here's the
No,
thing. Like,
yeah,
on a
you're
much
right.
smaller scale. Okay, so I produce burlesque. I also perform burlesque. I also work in the theater. When I'm working in the theater, I do lots of really, like, high-end shit with, like, really big names and shit. And then I come home and I produce a weekly bingo game in a dive bar. Like,
Yeah.
and I fucking love working in a dive bar. And this realization I had over the last week was, like, I used to see people in my position now and be like, oh, they really wanted to be on Broadway, but now they're working in a dive bar. Womp womp. When really, like, I'm having a blast working dive bar and then picking up some bomb ass festival work and then coming back to dive bar and then picking up another sweet ass
Yeah.
like
I totally hear that.
maybe Samuel Jackson, like you said, he's an actor. Maybe he just wants to act and he just wants to do good roles. Nicolas Cage might just be like doing something else entirely.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could like read interviews with him. He's like, no, I just only want to do stuff I find interesting. So like a lot of the movies that are terrible, fucking terrible movies. If you look at him, you're like, all right, I could see if I was a crazy person named Nicolas Cage, I'd be like, wait, a movie where a magician can see 3 minutes into the future? That could be fucked up. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And it's garbage, but it could have been a really weird, wonderful movie.
And he's also become this icon in the Z Guys. Like even on Community, there's an entire episode where Abed's in a class about Nicolas Cage and whether or not he's a good actor. Like that's like, I would love to be enough of a cultural icon that like people don't like love me or hate me. They're just kind of confused by me. So they're going to keep talking about me and seeing the stuff I'm putting out.
Well, think about another actor in general, but in particular who like people will be like, oh no, he's the fucking worst actor ever. Who's worked with the directors that he's worked with. And also won a fucking Academy Award and been nominated twice. That's an impressive fucking
That's
resume.
his problem, is that I think if he doesn't have a director that's decent at all, he sucks.
Well,
He's just not good.
He's a
I'm
fucking
that way as
lunatic.
an actor.
You
If
know.
I'm acting with someone who's great, I will be great. If I'm acting with someone who's terrible, I'm terrible.
That's
also
not the
think he
case
picks
with
roles where
people
he's-
like Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken is always dope, and it doesn't matter if he's in your movie for 5
Because he doesn't take any
seconds or
fucking
for an
risks.
hour.
Neither does Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I mean? Oh, remember that time Samuel L. Jackson wore a kilt? What a risky fucking role. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not saying that they take risks or anything. They have a thing that they do, and you hire them to do that thing.
Nicolas
and they do it
Cage's
well.
hairstyle alone is more daring than most actors' careers.
By,
you know what I mean?
By style, you mean plugs?
I mean, Con Air, who's like, oh, you know what? I won an Oscar. Now I'm going to do fucking weird ass action movies for a couple
that was
years.
also
and you know
20
what?
years
How's
ago.
about whatever, man? I mean, like, what's the last relevant thing that Christopher Walken or Samuel L. Jackson did that was in the theaters too, for that fucking matter?
Samuel L. Jackson was in fucking Star Wars Rogue One.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, he was he's on the Jedi Council, and he was just
That's
like,
not
for
Rogue
that, like,
One.
he's like, yeah,
That's
he's
a
like,
fucking
Yeah,
cameo,
that's the
first
Evil
of all.
Empire, and that was also 15 years ago.
I think that,
that was
Colin
literally
actually,
came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4
It's
years
not
ago,
Rogue
maybe.
One. Rogue One has Forrest Whitaker in it, who's the Jedi in that.
They
who's
don't.
black.
All the Jedi's don't look the
I
same,
know.
Colin.
And
Okay.
you're talking about the ones in the Phantom Menace series that came out 15 fucking years ago. Yeah.
No, I think he had a cameo. In,
Mace Windu is who he
what was
plays,
the first
bald
one?
Jedi who's on the council.
Also, Samuel L. Jackson, I just watched The Assassin's Bodyguard. It was terrible with Samuel L. Jackson, but it was like a major blockbuster
I
fucking
don't
release.
think that was a blockbuster.
Well, it was a
I
major
haven't even
release.
heard of it. But
I never heard of it until it was on fucking Netflix, and I was
don't have
fucking
my
high
finger
on
on
the
the
But
pulse
I
of
think
shit.
that's a great point too. Is like you can be super famous and people can have no idea what the fuck you've been doing. Y'all were talking about like trying to figure out what the latest things these actors did, and like I'm sure they've done big things lately that we just don't know about, which is kind of awesome because the world is so fucking big that you can be a huge star and people can still not know what you've done.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, like, the thing is, too, that, like, cinema in particular has been distilled down, like, you're either in a giant action movie or you're in direct-to-video stuff that, like...
I want to see a remake of Thelma and Louise with Christopher Walken and Nicolas Cage.
I'm so about that. So about it.
It'll be called Tholomew and
Lewis?
Lewis, yep.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson is one nomination, no wins.
No wins?
Yeah.
God, can we put it out?
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? That was a Wicker Man reference. You're welcome.
Real quick, Lefty here, who likes to smoke her weed with what she calls her witchy herbs, and it's just,
They're medicinal. They're good for you.
yeah, whatever it is, it's fine. We were joking around like, it feels weird in here today, and she was like, should I burn some sage? And we were like, oh, ha, 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 ha.
Actually-
and then she pulled out a fucking grip of sage and then just started burning it. Like, you travel with that shit. Like,
was here.
that is...
Actually, I'd like to point out that Pooch was the one who was like, do you think we should burn some sage?
But totally
That's my
sarcastically.
sage. No, that's my
no,
sage.
that's his sage.
Oh, that's your
Yes.
sage. Jeez.
I don't
Yeah.
travel with sage. I am a hippie witch, but not. I don't travel with sage.
I'm a skeptical hippie, so I have the tools, but you know. haven't
But you
built
don't expect them
haven't
to
built a
work.
doghouse yet. You know. They're in there. though.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, I can do it.
It's kind of when you're too old and disgruntled, and like your children or grandchildren buy you the dope Snap-on set, and it just sits in the garage because you're too fucking tired to build
what
something
Snap-on
or whatever.
set?
Like a nice, like a tool kit that's dope and shiny and has a really nice. Snap-on's a tool brand.
Yeah, it's like the
toolkit.
like big one.
That's how I feel about my sage and my hippie stuff. It's there, but I don't know.
In case of emergency break glass.
Kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
I do my yoga 3 days a week, and that's super good for me, and definitely helps my knee and my fucking
Oh, yeah, man,
mental
yoga's the best.
well-being while bartending for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like being healthy, I have been to the hospital this last week thrice.
Couple 2 tree times.
Couple 2 tree, couple tree 4. So I rolled my ankle, didn't think much of it, and then worked a fucking double on it, and woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning in excruciating pain. Thought I broke my foot or my ankle. Went there, no breaks, but tore all the ligaments in my foot. Supposed to go for an MRI, might need surgery. Fun fact about MRIs, not an emergency service. So you have to pay for it. So guess what I haven't done? Gotten the MRI. So then I went back to the hospital, yada, yada, yada. Didn't work out for me. But then today I went to the hospital again because one of my good buddies, and all 3 of you guys know him, got into a real serious wreck on his motorcycle, and he is in real bad shape. And
Shit, I didn't realize he was on a motorcycle.
oh yeah,
Fuck.
so
Oh, yeah, I forgot
he
he was on Missouri, yeah.
so it was real late at night, and he was leaving work and driving home and blew a red light and got hit by a Jeep going like 40. Totaled the Jeep. We were talking to this, like I was at the hospital all day with him, and he's, obviously completely out, and he's got tubes and breathing tubes and
Jesus
all this
fucking
shit,
Christ.
whatever. I was talking to the social worker who explained that he's not going to be charged with anything because he was, after the accident, they didn't send like regular detectives. They sent like the
Space Force.
the lady alluded to the fact that maybe the guy in the car might have been drunk, but nah, they were just like, they're not pressing any charges. They just want to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
The people in the other car could sue him because it was his fault. They're not pressing charges. His bike is in fucking evidence. Like, the social worker was just like, dude, as long as he doesn't try to go get his bike, like, he's fucking not going to be charged with anything.
Well, so is he in a fucking coma or like what's going?
So he's not in a coma. He is heavily sedated because they have to intubate him, which is putting the tube down his throat so he could breathe and stuff. And
Oh, just hearing that makes my insides hurt.
yeah, no, it's brutal. Like, I was there all day, and they have to, every couple hours, they have to like clean their mouth and like suck out all the saliva, and then they have to clean the tube and suck out all the fucking all the shit from their lungs, right? So they have to do that. And when you do that, it's this violent fucking, they go into these violent convulsions, and you're sitting there watching your buddy, and there's nothing you can do, and you start freaking out, and they're like, the nurse is just like, it's okay. We know this is gonna happen. I'm like, but look at him, he looks like he's fucking seizing. And they're like, it's okay, it's fine. So his his girlfriend has been there like every day, whatever, and she's just like a mess, and like the doctors are very surface with her. Like, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and this is what's gonna happen, and she can't keep her shit together. But like, I went in there and was like, hey, like my roommate Sean and I were like, all right, we caught the neurosurgeon on the way out, and we're like, come around the corner with us. Like, what the fuck is actually going on, dude? Because we heard that conversation, and it was fucking surface as shit. First of all, the guy looked like he's one of those dudes that could either be 11 or 48, and you have no idea how fucking old he is, right? And he was like, all right, dude, let me tell you something. Your boy's in the shit. He got fucked up. And I was like, finally, I've been here for fucking 7 hours. Someone who
But the thing is, it was a custodian, not a doctor.
Someone who could talk to me on my level, right? Like, they're like, you have like nurses and doctors coming in, they're like spewing out jargon and numbers and all this stuff. They're like, well, you know, it's a 13.1%, and you know, it's got to be blah, blah, blah. But okay, fine, I accept that you're like smart, but I don't know what you're talking about. And this dude was just like, all right, so this is the deal. And he had like the Justin Bieber hair like swept across his face. Right? And he was like, you know, your buddy, yeah. He's like, your
That's
buddy.
like wearing a fucking Ed Hardy shirt. Like, you know, you're dealing with a
He's got like
douchebag.
an Ed Hardy lab coat.
You know?
Yeah.
Totally.
I would much rather my doctor be sponsored by Ed Hardy than Big Pharma, though.
Not me.
Fair enough.
Not me.
So he goes, he's like, your buddy's in the shit, man. He got fucked up. And then did like the fucking, like,
so Dr. Bieber's the same as
like the head jerk, where like to sweep his hair off his fucking his bangs off his face, and I was like, oh god damn, fuck you, man. Like, you know, but
you know,
it's this
every
weird
day
thing.
that kid's in a bar like, you know, I'm a doctor, right? Wearing a fucking Ed Hardy t-shirt.
And his name tag.
There's a stethoscope.
When you're in there and your buddy's like really in fucking in trouble and there's nothing you can do. But like outside the walls, you're like, dude, oh, you're in some shit? I'll be there in 4 minutes and we'll fucking figure this shit out together. But like he's there and you're like, there's nothing you can do.
Well, and
It's
like,
this
what's he gonna
fucking-
do once he gets out? Like he works in food service. He needs his body to be in
Yeah,
good
I mean,
health.
like, it really at this point, it's like, hey, let's try to live through fucking tonight. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a fuck what his next job is? You know, but it's like one of those things where you're just like, you see him there like that,
Yeah.
and it's very
And then, where's he
jarring.
gonna
And
go?
especially
Hospitals
like
are
when
also
he,
just fucking scary as fuck, man. Like I will have a panic attack walking through the fucking door.
dude,
you know?
like this.
Even whenever I go get STD tested, I almost pass out from the fucking needles.
The nurse was this like short, fucking jack white chick who like you talked for 1 second, and you're like, oh, you're a gangster. Like, Jesus Christ. And she's like, yeah, man, fucking fuck this shit, blah, blah, blah. And like just going off like super aggressively, right? But a sweetheart and like really good at her job, right? She leaves the room, and I'm sitting in there, and the door's open, and all of a sudden I hear, are you fucking kidding me? Say that shit one more time, bitch, and I will punch you in your mouth. And I was like, you are on the ICU floor. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And then like the other nurse was like, fuck you, bitch. And like it was like it was
was a
crazy.
nurse?
Did you stumble
Dude.
into the Nicolas Cage movie,
No, it was like-
Bringing Out the Dead?
They were like, dude, they were screaming at each other on like a gangster, I'll kick the shit out of you level. And it's like, hey, cool. My buddies, my buddies, you know those like those
Beep beeps?
those beep beeps, they're going faster. Can you guys not fight right now and maybe help me out? Like it was
place of healing, you know?
ridiculous, dude. Fucking the hospital in New Orleans, man.
Did they actually fight, or did they just
No,
talk shit?
no one. Yeah, they were just talking shit, but like loud and aggressively on the fucking trauma ICU floor. Like, you know, maybe tone it down just a scotch.
These are nurses that just, I mean, all they deal with are gunshot wounds and fucking drunk driving accidents, right? In New Orleans. I bet they could
and bad
stitch up a
attitudes.
gunshot wound in 10 seconds. Just
With a cigarette in their mouth.
Yeah.
And roll a cigarette at the same time.
whilst
You know?
playing video poker.
Yeah.
They can do all
Yeah.
these.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, it's so funny. Like if you ever go to like like any hospital, not even just down here, it's just like everyone's so desensitized because that's just what they do all day. They deal with like death and fucked up shit that like it doesn't even faze them anymore. They're just like, yeah, okay, cool. Anyway, sorry, I left my hamburger. Let me take another bite before I fucking put a needle in your fucking
And they work
carotid
like
artery.
4 days straight and then get like 3 days off. Like their hours
Yeah.
are insane. They're exhausted.
Speaking of firefighters, I remember years ago my Uncle Wally, my favorite uncle, who's like a retired Chicago fireman because he broke his neck on the job and was all fucked up. Had like several surgeries about it. He's also a crazy person who did like 5 years in the federal pen, like super tough dude, right? But he had to have his final neck surgery, and there was like, He was all jacked up, and they were like, there's a 25% chance he might die. So we were all there, like, on the edge of our seats the whole time. He comes through it. The doctor's like, all right, you guys can go in to see him now, but just know he's real fucked up. He's not going to be able to talk for several days. He's not going to seem like himself at all. So just be prepared. It's going to be a rough sight. So I go in there. I'm fucking, like, I don't know, 20, 22, and terrified because my favorite uncle, who's, like, the toughest guy I've met in my life, is, like, in the hospital and, like, super vulnerable. And I walk in, like, scared. And I go in the room, and he's got, like, the morphine machine open, and he's hot wiring it to give him more morphine. And he pulls the thing out of his mouth, give me a fucking cheeseburger and a Pepsi. like, he's like, fucking hurt me, you little, give me a cheeseburger and a Pepsi. I'm like, all right, Uncle, okay, I'll be right back, you know.
When I was there, like, this afternoon, it was me and my roommate, my buddy's girlfriend. We walk in, and she's like, you know, they say, like, he can hear you even though he's so sedated, like, you know, talk to him, whatever. So I walk in, and I'm just like, hey, stop being a bitch. Wake the fuck up. Like, stop it, right? You're a pain in the ass. This is my day off. I could be smoking weed on my couch all fucking day. I had to sit at the hospital. Get the fuck up. My roommate's like, yeah, dude, motherfucker, we did acid together fucking 2 weeks ago. Now I gotta come to the hospital? Fuck you. And his girlfriend just starts crying. She's like, don't say that. And we're like, that's how we talk to each other. Like, we fucking...
That's how we say I love you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like...
If I was him dealing with this nurse and you, I would just fucking die right there. Like, so stressful. Like, trying to heal. There's
But it's like, what am
some
I...
fucking
what am I-
Jerry Springer
I'm
fight
like-
with the nurses, and then my friend comes here and you're like an angry stepdad. You're not being a friend. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, but like,
I know.
dude, if I was in the fucking hospital and Polino showed up...
You read him Shel Silverstein and,
And-
cry like a real friend, you
And
piece of
Polino
shit.
was like, come on, little buddy. Let's do this. We're going to make it
That's
okay.
I'd be so cheesy. So you woke up and be like, dude, seriously, stop it.
I
You're
know.
creeping me out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
seriously.
you'd come back just to hit him.
Yes, exactly. I wake up and be like, motherfucker, say something
I'd
mean.
put like
'cause-
little booties on you, like little like bear claw fucking slippers. I'd get you like a little dinosaur smock with the butt hanging out. I'd just humiliate you till you got better. Like, I'd fucking be like, he looks kind of pale. Can we make him up a little bit? Like I could little ruse on the cheek.
I'd bring my
blush on
whole
the
kit in
cheeks.
for you.
I feel like he needs a smoky eye.
We'd make you so pretty. We'd make you look just like Divine.
I don't know who that is.
Oh,
Anybody?
you do know who that is.
Give you highlights, pierce your ears, paint your fucking nails.
Just give me like the...
No
give me,
piercings.
Give me
That's
like the
taking it too far.
handlebar mustache where it's like he's either a police officer or a relief pitcher because those are the only two acceptable facial hair.
Oh man, I can't wait till you're in a coma. I'm gonna fuck with you so bad.
I don't go into comas. I live where I die, motherfucker.
I want you to know, Polino, that when you're in a coma, I'm going to comb your beard for you, buddy.
I appreciate
I'm gonna
that.
be
You know,
friend.
I would actually appreciate that. Though.
I know you will.
I don't wake up with a scratchy beard.
I think it's going to save you. You'll be like on the operating table flatlining. I'm like, wait a second. Pull the beard comb out of his pocket and give him a couple little strokes and then boop, boop.
Why is he twitching? His beard is askew.
It's not lubricated enough.
Dude, nobody wants a dry beard.
All right, let's lighten the fucking mood here.
Please.
Popo, some positive news. You got a
found a-
little new
found-
little buddy.
Found a kitten. On the
What?
street. Yeah,
Gross.
Yeah. Little gray kitten. She's like 4 weeks old.
How do you know?
I actually took her to the vet. Like me and the girlfriend found her when she was this disgusting little rat, and so we gave her a bath and took her to the vet. And they were like, I was guessing like 4 or 5 weeks old.
Well, here's the
And,
thing.
was
Up until I'm guessing about 4 or 5 weeks old, I imagine that's how your girlfriend described you. I don't know. I just found this disgusting little rat, and I took him home with me.
I mean, I feel like it's still how she describes me because it's fucking accurate. So,
So what are you naming the kitten?
oh, it's called Hobo Kitten. Oh, yeah, a little hobo.
Your little bug.
Yeah, she.
That's a stage of nesting. You're like fully. You're in a full-on relationship now. Now
Have you
an animal
moved in?
together, you
Like
know?
I know, like her roommate's been out of town. You've been staying there, but like, are you still paying rent on your own place or no?
Yeah, no, I'm still paying rent in the apartment I haven't been to in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Word.
I bet
No,
your
like-
roommate loves no one's wandering into her room, though.
Probably, like, but also like it's like she's been texting me. I'm like, yeah, I'm still live there. Like, stop freaking out. I just haven't been home. You know, like,
But
shouldn't you be happy that I was paying rent and never there?
In fairness, it's not out of the fucking... Like, if I don't hear from you for 3 days, I'm like, well, he might be dead. I got to fucking figure this shit out.
Yeah, if my roommate doesn't come home within 48 hours, I start like Facebook stalking and Instagram stalking her to see if she's posted anything, and if that doesn't follow
No,
through,
but that's
then
just
I text
because you're
her,
a fucking
like-
hypochondriac and a fucking worry wart.
You've also met my roommate.
I know all of your roommates very well. Your roommate is not Polino. Yeah, exactly. Like Polino's like, if I don't hear from him for fucking 72 hours, it's like I start calling around like to make sure he's not.
Oh yeah, well
dead.
it's like when I went on the wagon for a week. I'm super broke a couple months ago, and you guys are like, we all thought you were dead. And I'm like, no, I just stopped drinking for a week. Like, sorry guys.
Opposite of that.
Everyone was quite worried about you. No, I go off the grid sometimes. You know.
Yeah, you got to go off the grid
Yeah.
sometimes.
You
That
go
was
off-
a good thing though. Like when I hurt my foot, like I didn't have a drink for 8 days.
Well, also you were eating painkillers like they were fucking Pez, I assume. So I don't know what's better.
No, I couldn't even
Or
eat it.
cleaned up. I didn't drink.
No, they were-
ate a
dude,
bottle
no.
to have a fucking Vicodin.
No, they didn't give me painkillers. They gave me muscle relaxers, and they made me fucking.
Oh, okay.
No, they made me throw up every time I took them. Once the pain was like manageable, I stopped taking them immediately.
Why would they give you muscle relaxers for torn ligaments? That makes no sense.
Like the muscles in my foot were like clenched so tight that like it wouldn't let the swelling go down. So they had to like allow me to like fucking chill.
I don't know. I feel like a Vicodin and a hand job would do just as well.
You know what?
Gotta relax you a little bit.
Fun fact about
The
opiates:
American medical profession.
no desire to jerk off.
I know. I fucking hate painkillers. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I don't like them either. Like as soon as I was just like, I'm all right, I stopped taking them.
Yeah, no. Whenever someone's like, "Oh man, you hurt your back? Do you want like a Vicodin or a Codeine?" I'm like, "Guys, have like 2 fingers of scotch. That'd be way better. Thanks."
That's also why I have all my hippie witchy
And maybe a
herbs.
hand job. Yeah.
Also,
Way better.
Polino calls scotch his butthole. That's why he wanted 2 fingers there.
Hey.
It's a
Shit,
rye.
I meant he. You know what I meant.
Oh yeah.
We don't need to know what you meant.
Can we stop
Any further.
talking about my butthole, guys? That'd be great.
Well, then maybe put some pants on. Let's go back to sex like we do every fucking week.
Yeah, it's the most fun part.
It really is of life, really. In
We're talking
general.
about Red Wings last night.
Oh, we were
for a
and
while.
quickies too.
Wait,
Quickies,
Red
yeah.
Wings like the hockey team or like eating a a puss on the rag?
No, yeah,
Yeah, they're kind of Red
Period
Wings.
sex.
I wanted to
Period
get into
sex.
like the my minutiae of that actually.
Last week.
For all those listeners,
That's for
That
our
we don't
regular
have?
listeners.
But I was telling him how spoiled that I was because my first girlfriend, I mean, we just had sex all the time and she would have her period and then we would have sex and I'll go down on her. I didn't give a shit. She would
wait, you
clean-
ate her bloody puss?
Yes, I did. I would just lay there after and she would clean my penis with baby wipes. So I'd never I didn't even see what it looked like until the 3rd or 4th period.
Yeah,
she
but you-
had, and then I
but-
went to the bathroom and like she jumped in the fucking shower and
Yeah,
Welcome
but you
to
not
also
look at it,
woman.
you know.
you also must have felt like you had a fucking mouthful of pennies.
Oh yeah, it gets copper penny. It depends though. If you just stay up on the clit,
Yeah.
you're usually okay. You don't
Yeah.
have to like.
It's not a full contact.
At that point, I didn't know what I was doing, so I got the copper penny shit. But now I have a technique and it's fun. Captain Bloodbeard of the Seven
Because
Seas.
my buddy that I work with, he was like, yeah, man. He was telling me that he hooked up with this girl. He's like, yeah, man. Like, we were like making out, and she kept like trying to get me to go down on her, and I was like, yeah, dope, like good, yeah. And he's like, no, man, I don't do that shit. And I was like, you are 36 years old. What do you mean you don't do that? He's like, I've never eaten a pussy before.
Some dudes don't do
What?
it, yeah.
He's missing out on a full life. First of all,
Vote him off the island
Yeah.
immediately.
how do you ever get laid?
Why? And he goes, there could be another man's sperm in there. And I was like, first of all, what the fuck, dude? You're 36 years old. You've never gone down on a girl. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't even.
Has he
that
received a blowjob? Because I would like to hope the answer is no.
Yeah, me too. I remember like the first time I encountered like a menstruating woman in a sexual context. Like it was like what happens to me a lot in situations where like, all right, that's new, and like I have a split. I'm like, all right, what are you gonna do? I just hear like Don Corleone from The Godfather slapping Johnny Fontana across the face and be like, "Be a man!" And I'm like, all right, get in there. Show no fear. Do it. You know? Like every time I'm like, ooh, all right, somebody pulled a gun. That's a new one. Be a man. All right. Be
You know
cool.
what though? It's not.
Bitch, be cool.
It's not like something that I'm into.
Samuel Jackson.
It's that's definitely something I only do with women that I have a strong chemical hormonal kind of bond with. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Like,
Yeah, like licking buttholes. I hear you. It's a level of intimacy.
that's another one. Yeah, that's not for every day. You know,
everyone.
depending on the day.
oh, it's the tops.
I'm not into it.
You're not into it?
No,
You're not into. Wait, you're not into doing it, or you're not into having your butt licked?
I'm not into either.
Are you
Have you
generally
ever
not
had
into
your
butt
butt
stuff?
licked?
Yes. Are you kidding me? I'm a heterosexual woman who dates heterosexual men. All heterosexual men want to do butt stuff.
Yeah.
It's the tops.
or the
I don't know if
bottoms.
it's the tops.
Heyo, the bottoms. Squirt,
I don't
squirt.
know, like, I feel like all sex stuff, though, it's all like levels of intimacy and also depending on who you're with. You know what I mean? Like, there was one girl I was dating who was really into butt stuff, but I'm also like, yeah, you kind of got a gross butt, like, not into it. You know? Like, you can't expect me to lick your butthole if you've got a furry butthole. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, there's got to be some
texture,
prep there.
no.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, every girl's different.
All the way
I was
over
with a
there.
girl for a little while, and that was the only way she would have an orgasm, and I did not believe her, but it was totally, that was the
yeah,
deal.
everybody's
She just,
different.
Like,
I
taking
one
it in the
time
ass,
woke
you know?
up to a woman playing tic-tac-toe on my back with her menstrual blood. That was a weird one.
Whoa. That's some goth shit.
That's
Yeah.
fucked up, dude.
That's
I was like,
bold.
what are you doing? Playing tic-tac-toe. I'm like, all right.
I've got a good one for this, actually. I was in a...
Did she win?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, like, I know. Like, you know how some people are like, oh, you're just doing that for a fucking reaction. I'm like, I'm not going to give you shit. Like, I'm going to hang out and smoke a cigarette. Let that, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're going
Wow.
to freak me out? No, nerd. Try me. You don't know where I've been, Lou. You don't know what I've seen, Lou.
I was in a punk band when I was 16 called Muppets Don't Bleed, and we had a song called I Like Period Sex, and the singer wrote the song because he was really into period sex for some weird reason, and he had period sex with his girlfriend for the first time, and she got nervous about it, so he took some of the blood and painted a heart on his chest. And then he said she just looked like way more freaked out at that point, but he kept it. She didn't like say no or anything. It obviously didn't get the reaction that he had wanted.
This came from love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a woman in my mid 30s, I'm still, when there's a dude who's okay with period sex, you're always like, oh, neat. Like it's not a common.
I feel like I've had that reaction to, like, from women several. I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. Like, whatever,
Yeah,
man. It's like a week of like a quarter of the time we're not gonna fuck. That's terrible.
That's ridiculous.
And
It's
also, like,
unrealistic.
It doesn't
The only
also sex like
relief-
relieve
yeah,
menstrual
it's
pain
the
as
only
Yes,
well.
relief.
and it
Yeah.
can make your period shorter.
Yeah. It's a twofer, man.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Food, Sex, and Death. We are live from the French Quarter every Wednesday. This is Colin Bohannon, Lefty Lucy, The Pooge, and Michael Polino.